Hello everyone, AutoChamp Wandelen over here, and right next to me is the 2025 Audi Q7 facelift, and it makes me wonder, will it give the BMW X5 and the Mercedes GLE sleepless nights? It looks better than ever, but my biggest question is, why do we need another facelift? Although I have to confess, they did an excellent job with the door. Oh my goodness, this has to be the best door sound I've ever heard. It's awesome. Same for the front doors. And for the interior, just like every other Volkswagen Group car, there's no drastic change, especially when it comes to facelifts, everyone. The facelift is so minor to the interior that I can't really spot the big difference. However, thank goodness they didn't have a pretentious massive touchscreen, and thank goodness there's no pretentious screen for the front seat passenger to use. Now make sure to watch this video till the end. I will be having a look at the Audi Q7, what exactly has changed about it, and also I'm going to talk to you all about the Audi Q7 model in general. Check the link in the description for my review of the BMW X5, the Mercedes GLE, the Porsche Cayenne, and then of course other Audi models. Now let's get on with the review of this Audi Q7. Now, for a very long time, there was always something about the Audi Q7, which I loved. There was something about the design that looked very appealing. You see the rich Audi identity. In fact, there's something about Audi and Avant style designs that go perfectly together. Now, this is not an Avant. This is an SUV by all means, but just the design overall, the overall looks you see, and especially with the suspension all the way down, it gives it this Avant style, and it just blends perfectly together. Now, you can also get your Audi Q7 as a 7-seater, everyone. So this is already another advantage you get. When compared to the competitors, the BMW X5, well, the BMW X5 is actually the most popular. I see a lot of them on the road. They are seeing great success, everybody. They released the new generation and it is awesome. Now, I'm not sure if this is a new generation or if this was actually a facelift, but whatever it was, it looks better. It feels better. I reviewed it and I have to say they've gone very techy. But the biggest problem I have with BMW SUVs, the X series, is that BMW was born from small cars. They were born from sedans and cabriolets and coupes. So for BMW to transition to SUVs was a bit conflicting. There was a bit of a, it took for me a lot to get used to. It's like seeing Mini tomorrow trying to build a limousine to compete with the Mercedes S-Class. You see the bizarre thing, the confusion? Whereas if Mercedes were to try building a car to compete against a Mini, that would also be equally bizarre. And then, speaking of Mercedes, when it comes to the Mercedes GLE, I reviewed it as well. I have to say, it was not very interesting to look at. The Mercedes GLE clearly doesn't look intimidating anymore. And it's a bit of a pity in my opinion, because Mercedes was born from big engines. They were born from trucks and limousines. They have the opposite history of BMW. So they were supposed to be better at this, because I sat behind the wheel of the Mercedes GLE and it definitely feels like you're sitting in a minivan. It doesn't really feel like a proper SUV. Whereas this Audi Q7, this Audi Q7 definitely feels like a real SUV. Let's talk about it right now. Now I want to talk to you all about the Audi Q7, the Audi Q7 model. The biggest problem lately seems to be the fact that the Audi Q7 has been living in the shadows of the e-tron models. Because ever since the Volkswagen Group took initiatives towards electric cars, Audi releases the e-tron models. Everybody completely forgot about the Q7, it seems. So as part of the facelift, Audi has resorted to a round edge design for the grille. So towards the grille, you can see that it's a bit rounder over here, and the headlights has changed a lot. It looks better. There's just something about the grille that looks more refined, everybody. Those red calipers, they look amazing. There's something about the red calipers and the Audi brand that pair very well together. Now towards the rear, there's no drastic change, although they've kind of just let this part of the trim go through the light, which looks awesome though. Now because this is the S line with which I'm not mistaken, it's probably got the black trim level to it. So this means wherever there was supposed to be chrome, is now in black. So over here, instead of chrome, you have the black trim. Now, I think the black trim goes very well with the Audi model, because having chrome with Audi can be of selective taste, and it depends on which model. Chrome would go perfectly with the Audi A8. But when it comes to the Q7 or the RS6 Avant, I think the black trim looks quite nice. Underneath over there, you get the gorgeous exhaust, but I have to wonder, why put the reverse light over here, all the way down there, you see? And especially for an SUV of this size and this segment, from my personal experience, is not really a good idea, because one time I was behind a vehicle which had its reverse lights all the way down there, and I could not tell if it was actually reversing or not. Over to the interior of this Audi Q7. Now, I must tell you all that this particular Audi Q7 costs 114,000 euros. My first impression of the interior is that it is awesome. In fact, I think this is far better than the Mercedes GLE. But when it comes to the BMW X5, maybe that's where I see a bit of a clash. No, it's not better than the X5, but then it's no worse than the X5. And same for the X5. I don't think the X5 is better than the Q7, neither is it worse than the Q7. But if there's any competitor, well, more like relative of this Q7, which has an advantage, would be the Porsche Cayenne. But let's stick to this Q7 for now. First thing I really like is the fact you see the bonnet, and that was not the case with the Mercedes GLE. I was about to say BMW. Oh my goodness. But when it comes to the way this interior is laid out, if you want driving pleasure, or you want to feel more connected with the vehicle, the BMW X5 takes the trophy, unfortunately, for the Q7. But when it comes to the way this interior is designed, if you want something more between family-friendly, humble, but at the same time techy, this Q7 takes the trophy. Well, first thing first, the steering wheel. The Volkswagen Group has one of the best steering wheels in the automotive industry, and even though this is the S line, you don't get mountain bike tire like steering wheels. The steering wheel is awesome, and I like the material you get over here for better grip. You get driving pallets onto the steering wheel, but the problem is the pallets are plastic, and all the Stokes have this Volkswagen Group plastic to them, guys. And then the door looks pleasant though, I give you that, guys. So I like this Alcantara trim, well, the squidgy Alcantara you get, rather. And then the window buttons are nicely detailed. You get mirror controls over here. This is very nice. And then also, I like this piano black trim you get over here and onto the center. But something funny I've just noticed, that the piano black is only onto this area, which is really nice and proud. But you look onto the door, the piano black is nowhere to be seen. Okay, right. You get this panoramic roof. Now, I don't think this is a sunroof. That's already questionable in my opinion. You get two cup holders over here, and thank goodness they are nicely decorated under this piano black trim. That's good. And then you have a central console storage, which isn't exactly a central console storage. It's just for your phone. It's just your phone holder. So in terms of practicality, it's, well, I mean, it's okay, although I seem to recall competitors offer more practicality solutions, like a deeper storage. For instance, I think in the Range Rover Sport, if I'm not mistaken, their practicality is more detailed, because you can actually move the cup holders for storage space underneath the cup holders. Well, maybe I'm mistaking it for the big Range Rover. I'm not sure. But I know one of the Range Rovers definitely has that feature, and that's smart. Whereas with this Q7, the practicality is a bit on the limited side. But although the door bin is good, but a bit short though. But you get the glove box, which is very deep, guys. That is awesome. In terms of family friendliness, the Volvo XC90 definitely takes a trophy. But if you want premium, this Q7 is quite techy and it suits it. But I feel like the BMW X5 is just maybe one step ahead in terms of the way the interior is designed, because something about the X5 will definitely make you feel connected. Whereas with this Q7, it feels like I'm sitting behind the wheel of an Audi A6 right now, you see? Probably because Audi and the Volkswagen Group in particular, they've adopted the same design in almost all their vehicles. In fact, I had the chance of recently driving a Volkswagen Passat, and the Volkswagen Passat has the exact similar styling just above here. So, you know, ironically enough, it's making me think now of the Volkswagen Passat. Oh my gosh. All right, everyone, let's have a driver's point of view look at the interior. So already the door sound, as I mentioned earlier in the video. The door sound is amazing. Now, when it comes to the interior, already you will notice that both front seats get electric seating adjustment, with the driver's seat having the seating memory. Now, I just want to let you all know that this particular Audi Q7 is in showroom mode, so don't be surprised if I won't be able to show you all the infotainment system, but I'll still give it a try. Although you get Audi's reputed virtual cockpit, the Audi virtual cockpit, and this is really legendary because Audi was the first one to revive this concept. They didn't start this concept. I think the first car to have this was an Aston Martin Lagonda in the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. But Audi popularized it not too long ago, and then everybody started panicking and scrambling to come up with their own system. Now, I'm very happy to see that everybody's come up with it. That's good. And you also get a soft close, by the way. The door has a soft close. Now, your infotainment system over here, I'm just going to give it a shot. So, start-stop button is down there. So, just like most Volkswagen Group cars. Right. Okay, so I believe this is in showroom mode. But what I tried to explain earlier was that this screen over here would be for your climate control. This screen above would be for your infotainment system. So, what you generally use it for. Now, when it comes to the presentation, this is a unique concept, and I love it. Thank goodness they don't have a massive touchscreen like many competitors. But then, to be fair, BMW and Mercedes didn't really employ a large touchscreen for their SUVs. So that's a plus. But when it comes to the Mercedes GLE, I'm just not a fan of the way they... Well, the interior looks nice, but it's just the exterior really that's the problem for me. Whereas the BMW X5 just looks more interesting, looks more flamboyant. Whereas if you prefer simplicity, there's just something about this Audi Q7 that looks quite pleasant. But then if you really want to go a bit more sporty, something that beats the X5 would be the Porsche Cayenne, as I keep saying. Look at this. Now, there's just something about this area that kind of looks a bit dated. I mean, you see this design over here? Looks like the same thing I saw in the previous generation Audi A6, guys. So maybe... So if anything, I feel like there's something a bit dated about this interior of Audi. And I had the same thing to say about the Volvo XC90, because the BMW X5 will remind you just bought something worth more than 100,000 euros and something that's going to make you look cool when you drive it down the road. And same for the Porsche Cayenne. But with this Audi Q7, there's just something about the interior that doesn't give you that impression, guys. For a price of 114,000 euros, there's just something about this interior that feels a bit behind, if you know what I'm saying. And maybe it looks a bit dated because you see that kind of design over there. That's the exact same thing I saw in the A6, the last generation A6. Now over to the rear seats of this Audi Q7 facelift. Okay, so for the facelift, I'm not exactly sure what has changed, but already from what I can see, it's almost like a minivan. It kind of reminds me of the Volkswagen Cayenne, or maybe I'm exaggerating over there. So already, just like the Volvo XC90, or maybe not like the Volvo XC90, but give or take, it's almost similar. You get a ratio of 30, 30, and in the middle, 20. That's the ratio you get for the rear seat passengers. Now, when it comes to the rear seat, it's really nice. I get a lot of leg room. It's good. I get a lot of headroom as well, and the headrest is rather squidgy. That's very pleasant. And then knee room is good, so there's no complaint over there. And the visibility outside is nice, but there's just something about the... And then you also get climate control. That's really good. Now, there's just something about the rear seats of the Audi Q7 that's good, but I had the same complaint about the Volvo XC90, and the complaint being that it just doesn't really feel premium, you see? And like, if you want a rear seat that definitely feels premium, I would definitely take a look at the Porsche Cayenne or the BMW X5 or even the Range Rover Sport, because the Range Rover Sport definitely has an advantage over there. Like, when it comes to the interior, their interiors are definitely cozy. Oh, and you even get armrest over here. But I just have to figure out how to... Okay, to open this armrest, it's an interesting story. Okay, I give them credit for this. Look at this. Those are some nice cup holders you get, but I struggled to open this, and it's a bit of a struggle to push it back in there. So I just have this impression that this Audi is a bit stuck behind, because everybody has moved on now when it comes to the way they've come up with this interior. Whereas the backseat pocket is net. It's really nice. Well, that's rather cute. Look at what you get over here. A little bin. You can remove this, have it cleaned, and then pop it back in there. And now it's time to check out the boot space. Now this particular Audi Q7 has the suspension adjustment. Now the setting is at its lowest, so therefore it's very easy to load luggages in and out. It's really nice, and I actually like the presentation. Now when it comes to the Volkswagen Group, they are also reputed for having one of the best practicality solutions. Now here's something gorgeous and at the same time just a little bit problematic. The gorgeous part would be the metal plating. It looks awesome, but the problem would be the prominent paintwork over here. So in long terms, just be very careful with when you put luggages in and out, because the body paint sticks out very proudly. When it comes to the boot floor, it's not adjustable, but it is still good. I like how it's flat over here, so it's easy to slide things in and out. Now these are tether points and they can be adjusted. You see, you can slide them and you can even remove them if they are not needed. So therefore you get a lot of space, and you can store these tether points somewhere. Ideally, there's a little storage space, or just pop them in the net, which is at the corner, so that you don't lose them. And if ever you need them, just gently put this back in there, and voila. Here you get the button to your trailer hitch hook, and then here you get the rear suspension adjustment to easily load luggages in and out. Now one thing I always found problematic about the Audi Q7, and I think I noticed this also on the Bentley Bentayga, would be the fact that when the rear door opens, you get this huge area exposed. Why not just leave parts of the rear lights there? So here's my conclusion of the Audi Q7 2025 facelift. Alright everyone, so I have very mixed feelings now about this Audi Q7. At first glance, I liked it. I really did. The facelift looked promising, and I really like how they employed the round edge design on certain areas. It looks fabulous. But wait, it's not all pink roses. Does it have what it takes to give sleepless nights to the BMW X5 and the Mercedes GLE? Well, yes and no. I mean, yes for the Mercedes GLE perhaps, because the Mercedes GLE, personally for me, I don't really like the design of it, what they did for the exterior and the interior to some extent. But when it comes to the BMW X5, oh dear, that's where I feel like the Audi Q7 is definitely a bit behind. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below sharing me your thoughts of this Audi Q7 2025 facelift. Do you prefer its competitors, or do you love this Audi Q7 like I do? And check the link in the description for my review of the BMW X5, the Mercedes GLE, the Porsche Cayenne, the Range Rover Sport, and of course, other Audi models.